A University of Houston professor has won a 2024 Pulitzer Prize for her memoir detailing her search for justice after her sister was killed by an ex-boyfriend. Joining me now is author of Liliana's Invincible Summer, a sister's search for justice, Professor Cristina Rivera Garza. Good morning. Thank you so much for your time this morning, for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me.
And chatting with us. Talk to us, Professor Garza, about your story, about this story.
Well, on July 16, 1990, my younger sister, my only sister, Liliana Rivera Garza, was victim of a femicide at the hands of Ángel González Ramos, by then her ex-boyfriend. Very soon after this crime was committed, a judge in Mexico City found enough reason to issue an arrest warrant against Ángel González Ramos, but he ran away and he has remained at large till this day. It took me about 30 years to gather enough courage to go back home and open up the boxes where I knew we had stored her belongings.
What does, he's at large, you said, right? He has yet to be captured.
That's correct.
What does decades with no justice do to a family, do to a person?
Well, the mourning process for people who have lost, for families who have lost loved ones to violence, it's very complicated. In addition to the loss, there are enormous feelings of guilt and even shame. And in addition to that, we live in a society in which it is very difficult to talk about these issues outside of the patriarchal narrative that insists on blaming the victim and exonerating the perpetrator. So you really need to, in order to write this book, I really needed to interrogate the very basis of such a narrative, and I needed to write this book not from the point of view of the killer, but from the point of view of my sister and her community.
Yeah, I know you say you wrote this book with your sister, not for her. Elaborate on this.
Yeah, absolutely. As I was telling you, I traveled down to Mexico City in search of, in fact, some information. I wanted to open up the case back again. And what I found, what I came across was this very rich archive that my sister had been building about herself. She had been collecting and preserving every single little note that she ever written. So when I opened up those boxes, I realized that I had a privileged access to her voice, to her point of view. And from that point on, I was following her guidance. I tried to pay very close attention to her words, to how the way in which she looked at the world, the kinds of things that she was able to see, and also the kinds of things that she could not see back then. So that's the reason why I've been saying that this is a book written in sisterhood, a book that I wrote with her, not only about her.
Yeah, I love that. Professor Garza, take us back to the moment you were returning to Mexico City. I recently experienced a big life event back in January of this year, and I had to board a plane and make my way back home. And it wasn't until that point I realized most often when you're boarding a plane, you're going to a destination, right? And hopefully it's for something good. It's maybe something to celebrate. This trip was not that for you. Talk to us about those moments, bringing us back to the time in which you got on that plane and you were returning home after more than 30 years.
Well, these were difficult times, of course. I had been talking to my parents. I had been talking to my family members. I was in great need of actually conducting this research. I wanted to bring justice to this case. I felt that I was strong enough to do that. So I went to my family's home hoping to find information. So my objective was rather rather humble, very practical. I wanted information. I had no idea of what I was going to find. So as I was, getting on a chair and pulling down all those boxes, and once I opened them, I was quite surprised. Many of the letters that my sister had written were folded in an origami shape.
Oh, yeah.
So when I opened up the boxes, they were leaping at me as though they were claiming for my attention at that point. And that's exactly what I did. I then realized I had tried to write this book in previous years for a long time. I had failed utterly. But then when I started to look over these papers and read them, I realized that I was going to be able to finally write a book and finally utter the words that needed to be uttered at that point, and that is that my family is seeking justice, as many families in Mexico are. We are committed to, we are devoted to this search for justice now and as long as it is required.
As long as it takes. It was almost cathartic for you to do this. Two quick questions for you. One, if someone has information about this case, where do they go? Who do they go to? And two, where can they purchase your book?
Well, hopefully they can purchase my book pretty much in every bookstore in the United States. I hope it's widely available. And on the other hand, when we were launching this book in Spanish a couple of years ago, we opened up an email address, Liliana's Invincible Summer, just one word, @gmail. I was asking for information about the whereabouts of Ángel González Ramos. We've had pretty good leads so far. So if you, for any reason, happen to have any information about this man, it would be very, very appreciated.
Okay, Professor Garza, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.